Welcome, everyone, once again to another episode, another edition of At Home with the Gamecocks, presented by Ford. We're going to go back to, the beginning of this century. That makes you sound old, I think, Mr. Hall, but a treat for us today. One of the best, I don't know if I should say pointing a gun for Jacksonville State, one of the best shooters ever in the history of the rifle program at Jacksonville State. James Hall visits with us. And go back to the early part, 2003 to 2006. You were here at Jacksonville State. Great career, part of a team that was a national runner-up to Army. And I guess if you're going to lose a national title in rifle, Army's who you'd want to lose to, but you did win the small bore team national championship title that year. Just a great career. First of all, do you miss those days?
I really do. I love competing with that team. JSU Rifle was some of the best memories I could think of. That we had a great we had an absolutely great team, and that year I believe we won. Not only to come up with runner-up, but I think we won the GARC championships as well before they switched over to the Ohio Valley. So right. It was a fantastic team, dynamic. We got along really well, and then carried that through the season. And I feel blessed and highly favored that I had such a great opportunity at JSU, and the opportunities that Rifle gave me, shooting for Gary Du Bois, and then for a small period of time we shot for Coach Skidmore, and now I shot for 1 year with Ron Frost, who's the current head coach.
So you were with Coach Frost for a year, and then you were a graduate assistant for him?
I was graduate assistant for 1 year when I started working towards my master's, which I did not complete at the time. I actually was offered a full-time job working for the civilian marksmanship program, and it kind of just carried on through what shooting education and worked for them for several years. But I was assistant coach for a year, and then about 2 years ago I was a volunteer assistant coach at JSU when I was in between jobs. I just wanted to give back to the sport as much as possible. So I feel like that's what's carried me on to get me where I am now.
I don't know if you realize it, but you were part of a string, and really began when you came in. Jacksonville State won 6 conference championships in 7 years, and you were part of 4 of those. You know, we talked to football guys and basketball players and baseball, softball, and all of those part of conference championships. To be part of a run like that, when you look back, I mean, you had to feel like when y'all went into the rifle range with the role that you were on, you were going to win every match that you shot, correct?
We put in a lot of work. I actually remember my senior year at NCAA's and shooting my last shot, and I was like, I don't know that I'll ever feel this feeling ever again. And I got emotional and like turn around and seeing my teammate. I was on the last relay for the last match for NCAA's, and I remember turning around going, that's it. And of course, when you're in college, getting married and having your first baby and stuff like that, it trumps that feeling. But I remember, like, in college, like I was like, we have done so much in the 4 years that I've been here that like what is going to trump this? So definitely getting married and having a baby has changed that. But going in those years of just feeling undefeated and putting in the hard work and working with teammates, like I said, our growth for that year, I feel like, was just astronomical, where we put in the work and it showed on the range.
All right. You say you didn't want with Trump, but you get married and have a child, and I guess something that's going to come close to that now. I see your outfit, that American flag displayed right there. Unfortunately, the pandemic has kept you out of Tokyo in 2020. You're part of the U.S. Olympic team, correct?
I am, yes, sir. So last year, after I graduated, I started working for the civilian marksmanship program, and I tried to compete with rifle for a while. It was a little difficult with working full time, so I actually picked up shooting pistol.
Yeah. Had you ever shot pistol before?
I have kind of dabbled in pistol, but I basically took the same fundamentals that I had learned with rifle in regards to training plan and putting together my weak areas that it needed to focus on. So I had the knowledge base already built in regards to rifle and what I've learned over the several years working with the different coaches at JSU. I just applied those same principles for rifle and I started shooting pistol.
Okay.
So my event is men's air pistol. It's very similar to what we shoot internationally, or excuse me, for the NCAAs. It is 60 shots. So for rifle, they shoot 60 shots air rifle. I shoot 60 shots with an air pistol.
Okay.
And I applied those same fundamentals of figuring out weak areas that I needed to work on. And I actually shot for the 2012, and I was 6th or 7th place. And then I shot for 2016, and I ended up being 3rd overall. And then I was like, you know what? I've got this. I'm going to take this serious for the next couple of years. Because at the time I was just kind of dabbling with it. It was fun to do while I was working for the civilian marksmanship program. And so this past quad, I took it serious and then started training on a regular basis and working out and watching my diet and whatnot. And then I made the World Cup team, several World Cup teams, and have traveled internationally. I actually won the quota spot, or the first quota spot for Team USA in Guadalajara, Mexico in November of 2018. And then I made the Pan Am team. But because I had already won the quota spot, you can't win two. So I had to turn that down, which was kind of a disappointment to turn down a trip to go to the Pan American Games, because that's like, it's kind of like the mini Olympics.
Right.
They make a big deal and a parade, and this was in Lima, Peru, and I've never been to Lima, Peru. So turning that down, I gave that spot to Nick Maurer and Jay Shee. Nick Maurer's from Colorado Springs, and then Jay's from Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona area. And then of course that gave us our second opportunity, or second quota. Nick Maurer came back first place with that. So we actually, Team USA has 2 spots for men's air pistol. Me and Nick Maurer will be representing the U.S. now in 2021. So,
well, that was my next question. With the pandemic and of course the games, they have been postponed until next year, 2021,
yes.
and we're looking, 13, 14 months out. But
That's
right,
correct.
you're still, do you have to requalify? Do you have to do it all over, or will you still be a part of that 2021 team?
No, actually, USA Shooting has announced that of the folks that have gone through their trials, and our second part of trials was in March. The first part was in December of this year. And so March of this year was the announcement of the last part of trials. And it came down to Nick Maurer and I being 1 and 2, and we are the set for the Olympic team. Now,
Wow.
there's other events out there that have, they've only done half of their trial selection process, but luckily we got ours in early before the whole pandemic deal started. So Nick and I will be representing Team USA in men's air pistol in Tokyo 2021.
Is this a fulfillment of a dream for you to be a part of the Olympic program team?
It was, yes. Becoming so close the last quad and realizing that it was within grasp, I was like, I can do this. It's just redefining some small goals and working on 1% at a time. And then it's like, there's a saying, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. It worked the same way with what I wanted to do in regards to these goals. So I started out with wanting to make all of the World Cup teams, and then backtracking what it would take to get there. And then it's just once you start making it, you kind of get on a momentum of make a World Cup teams, then you make Pan Am teams, and then the next step is you just got to make the Olympic team. So
congratulations. I know.
Thank you much.
That's as you mentioned, a fulfillment of a dream. And go back to, you mentioned getting married, having a child. And in the midst of the pandemic, you've relocated, you've moved to Columbia, Missouri. So
Yes.
it's you got a lot of stuff going on right now, don't you?
Yes. And as a matter of fact, someone asked me, he's like, what do you think about this delay? And I was like, honestly, I kind of like having the delay because we've had to move. I've got a baby in her terrible twos, and between a new house and a new state. And I said, I kind of like this opportunity for me to come home. And I will have time to kind of wind down and realize what I've done. And I'm actually kind of blessed in the fact that I have a range in my basement. And back home, the ranges, or back in Alabama, the range there has been closed since March the 3rd, I think. So whereas a lot of folks don't have the opportunity that I do to continue their training and fine-tuning their skills, I'm kind of spoiled. I've got a range set up down in my basement, so I can continue shooting and working. So
Right.
I'm hoping I have a leg up on all these other athletes that are kind of closed down and they're not able to shoot. So I feel like I'm a little bit ahead of the game, where I've got 2 or 3 months where I have continued to train.
Well, I want to wish you the best of luck. Obviously, we'll follow you and keep up with you. Best of luck year out and the training and getting ready for the Olympics. And thanks for being a part of this. I mentioned your outfit there with the flag and I guess your Olympic or team gear, but also that hat, pretty nice hat you got on.
That's right. This is an old hat. It's definitely JSU Rifle. I got to represent.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
James Hall visiting with us. Join us again next time. More At Home with the Gamecocks presented by Ford.